Yes, I do support Measure H. It is a tax on everyone that lives here or visits our city. It will have independent citizens oversight, financial audits, public reporting, and to ensure that everything's being spent on our priorities. I would support everything to rapid 911, fire, police, emergency response, youth and senior services, local business, job support, street and road repairs, very badly needed here, community health programs, homeless prevention services, park and rec, Adorney and Sequoia Park. Okay, I know we have a homelessness in our city, but as I've been traveling around our streets the last couple of months, I've been watching people, and we have a population of mentally ill homelessness who need special care. We need an organized volunteer group to clean up after the homeless on a weekly basis. I would get churches involved, the Boy Scouts, the Boys and Girls Club, to help clean up the city. I'll work hard to get a volunteer committee to help organize these outside groups. We need to take pride in our city. In the needle exchange, yes, I do support the needle exchange. It's a valuable service, but it needs to be run responsibly. You can't hand out 5 or 10 needles at one time for one needle, but it needs to be in a medical complex for it to work proper. Betty Chin has a really good model program for housing. We need to research Betty Chin's programs and support her in her endeavors. We need to streamline our building department. I've asked several building contractors about their relationship with our building department, and they all say the same thing. They've gone back, and the building department gives them a list of stuff they need to do, and then they go back and they need more, and they need more money. So we need to streamline the building department. And I know Miles is working on that now, so that might happen before the election, but I'm not sure. And we need low-income housing and senior housing. But I know it's really difficult to build senior and low-income housing with all the things they have to do with the building department. So the city has a lot of vacant lots all over our city that can be developed and or sold at a low cost to contractors to develop. And we need to look at our city parks and see if they really need to be, if they're really being used, and maybe we can turn some of that into senior housing or low-income housing, because our kids don't use the parks as much as they used to, and that's just a fact.
I do absolutely support Measure H as a sales tax that replaces the last one as it expires. There's a number of really great reasons to do this. I love that it has no expiration date, which can give our local government more control of the finances, more ability to plan sustainably into the future. Instead of putting patches on problems, we can actually plan to really create solutions to those problems. I would primarily, my first thing, just as a homeowner, as a small business person, I want to get rid of debt. So any additional income that comes through from Measure H, the first thing I would do is be paying off that CalPERS debt. Ultimately, in the long run, that's going to save the city millions of dollars. And it's that money that we can be putting towards important programs that we want to see more encouraged, in those infrastructure improvements and those, just fixing the roads. There's so many things to be spending money on instead of interest rates. That's what we need to be doing, in my opinion. If Measure H fails, I'm afraid I don't know what I could name as being on the chopping block right now. I know that there's a lot of really worthy things going on, and I can't imagine that we're working this close to the bone and we haven't already trimmed out a lot of the fat. I'd be willing to talk to community groups and talk to all the folks in the area to see what everybody's priorities are. I would be representing the 2nd Ward, and I would be wanting to talk to the people in my district to figure out where their priorities really lie. In addition to that, I think that the city is doing really great work on coordinating efforts of local agencies, the emergency response to COVID, as well as other things. Most efficient way we could be using our time and energy is to coordinate services that already exist and are already being done by the community. The question of homelessness and houselessness and underhousing in Eureka is definitely not new. The pandemic has shown how wide the cracks in our system truly are, and the lack of foot traffic downtown, the lack of people walking around has made people more comfortable who are living on the streets to, filter in from the edges, from the places that they've been hiding. They were always there. This problem is there. I absolutely think that if the city is going to be encouraging action or facilitating or funding action, that action needs to be treating the root of the problem. And one of the big reasons, or some of the big reasons, that people are on the street and causing this blight and causing these difficulties and these like unsightly problems is addiction and mental illness. I absolutely support a needle exchange program. The question of where it can be is incredibly complicated. It needs to be both accessible and nobody wants it in their backyard. A mobile option might be something that could address those issues. Go to where the people are. Not only could it engage people more in connecting with resources and connecting with healthier ways to engage in risk, but it could also then not have be one spot where people go and where community, needle drug users gather to do their thing. If that place is moving around, then it wouldn't create a blight or a difficulty for one particular neighborhood or one particular set of businesses. It could be on the move. That's obviously going to be super complicated. I think that we have some really great county examples of housing and reentry programs, like the WEX program and the Step Up program. I've worked with both of those to help get people on the job training so they can reenter the workforce. Those are really great. I also think we need more affordable housing, tiny housing, infill development, lots of places for people to live and work and grow. Attempting to find a rental, attempting to lease a rental in Eureka is one of the most dehumanizing processes that I have been through. And I have lived in my car. I've applied for food stamps. It's hard. It's really difficult to just be a responsible adult with a job and you just can't find a place to live. We do not have enough affordable housing here. There's lots of ways that the community can address this, but there's only so many ways the city can address it. Not being able to afford to build affordable housing. What the city can do is to encourage development that provides affordable housing. I think infill development is important. I love the idea of tiny house villages or other sort of alternative housing models that really look at the possibilities, the immense possibilities for space. And something like a tiny housing model would, depending on where it was placed, would not only provide lots of affordable housing, but it could increase people, it could increase foot traffic or increase a walkable community. It can increase use of public transportation or effective use of public transportation. So we're looking at more people living in a smaller area, putting in a smaller environmental footprint. And I really like those ideas. I think we have a lot of potential here for creative solutions. I think we have a lot of really great examples near and far to look to. And I think that we should be open to finding ways to house all of the people in Eureka safely and in a way that creates even very poor, totally engaged, totally creative, like totally safe little communities.